Sergio Perez has faced difficulties in earning full respect from his team, and the Austrian squad is considering other options beyond re-signing him after the 2024 season. Promising drivers like Norris and potentially even Leclair are now available, raising questions about whether Perez's time with the team is ending. Adding to this, a young driver named Drive-In of Atari is eager to prove themselves as the next Verstappen, which could further hinder Perez's position. Despite Perez's impressive track record and significant contribution to Red Bull's revenue through social media, there have been doubts about his ability to perform at the same level as his teammate Max Verstappen. The team is known for its emphasis on having two competitive drivers, and with the emergence of new talent like Norris and Leclerc, there is growing speculation that Perez may be replaced sooner rather than later. Furthermore, Perez's relationship with the team has not been without its challenges. While he has spoken publicly about the respect between him and Verstappen, there have been reports of tensions behind the scenes. Additionally, Red Bull team principal Franz Tost has publicly criticised the team's engineers and expressed doubts about their ability to prove the car's performance in the coming season, casting further uncertainty on Perez's future with the team. All of these factors combined suggest that Sergio Perez's time with Red Bull may be coming to an end. With the team's history of making bold decisions when it comes to the driver lineup, it wouldn't be surprising if they decided to make a change in the near future. As the 2024 season approaches, all eyes will be on Red Bull to see who they choose to pair with Verstappen and whether Perez will still be part of the team's plans. Sergio Perez had a challenging race at the Australian Grand Prix and finished in 5th place, which hasn't received much attention. He faced difficulties during the qualifying round and had to start from the pit lane. However, he managed to climb up to the 7th position by the time of the second red flag restart. Despite this, it was considered a poor performance for Red Bull this season. Sergio Perez's hopes of a strong start to the 2023 Formula 1 season with Red Bull Racing were dashed as he struggled in the Australian Grand Prix following his impressive win in Jeddah. The Mexican driver was highly motivated to keep the momentum going and win the championship with the team's support. However, he found himself in a challenging situation as his car proved uncooperative throughout the weekend in Albert Park. Despite a poor qualifying session, Sergio Perez climbed up to 5th place during the Australian Grand Prix. He had to start the race from the pit lane because his car was fitted with new components under park-friendly conditions. Perez steadily made his way through the field, making impressive overtakes and taking advantage of 3 red flags and safety cars. He limited the damage to his championship standings, but the RB19 car is far quicker than any other on the field this season. Even with the 4 DRS zones around Albert Park, Perez did not find it easy to breeze through the field. He made a mistake during the race which caused him to drop to 11th place before eventually finishing in 5th. Perez needs to thank his lucky stars for finishing in the points at all. At the start of the weekend, he claimed that he was ready to fight for the Formula 1 World Championship and that Red Bull was ready to give him every opportunity to challenge for it. It's not impossible if he continues to secure 2nd place behind Max and make the most of his teammates' mistakes. A chain of events from the first practice session set the pace for the rest of Perez's weekend. The first practice was chaotic as an outage of GPS data caused much traffic, and the session was eventually red flagged, meaning that teams could hardly gain any insightful data. Rain and unexpected traffic reduced Perez's time in the 2nd practice, while the RB19 proved uncooperative in the 3rd practice. The mechanics attended to the car, but Perez experienced a couple of lockups in turn 1, 3 and 13 and found himself in the gravel several times. His free practice came to an end when he found himself stuck in the gravel, and the brake issue experienced had to be addressed before qualifying. Despite the arduous task for the mechanics, they worked tirelessly until a few minutes before qualifying. However, Perez would lock up once again, and this time there was no reversing the car. On his first lap, he found himself deep into turn 3, went across the gravel, and then got stuck in the mud, meaning he would start at the back of the grid. Perez complained to the team that the problem was with the brakes, the same problem he had experienced in his 3rd place session. He seemed to blame his car rather than his own error for the incident. After qualifying, Perez refused to stay. What the issue was with the car in front of the TV cameras, making it clear he wasn't in any good mood. The team, however, felt that the fault lay with Perez, with Red Bull's Dr. Helmut Marko refuting Sergio's claims that his apparent braking mistake in qualifying was directly attributed to a reliability problem. Marko told the media that maybe it wasn't an optimal setting, but Perez was unsure, impetuous, and it was slippery with cold tyres. The disappointing weekend in Australia frustrated Perez, and reports emerged that he was done with Red Bull. While it remains to be seen whether this is true or not, it is clear that Perez has a lot of work to do if he is to challenge his teammate Max Verstappen and compete for the championship. The team's support will be vital, but Perez will need to ensure that he avoids making similar mistakes in the future. The Australian Grand Prix was a tough weekend for Red Bull driver Sergio Perez. He struggled with the car during practice and qualifying, ultimately resulting in a disappointing race performance. Perez blamed technical issues with the car, particularly with the brake balance moving forward, under braking for his struggles. However, the Red Bull team was not entirely convinced that the car was to blame. Red Bull advisor Dr. Helmut Marko suggests that Perez's insecure and impetuous reaction may have contributed to his downfall. While Perez may be frustrated with the team, blaming technical issues instead of taking responsibility for his performance is not going to win him any favours from Red Bull. During the Australian Grand Prix, Sergio Perez had difficulties with his engine braking during the third practice session, which he attributed to the engine mapping settings rather than reliability issues. Christian Horner, the team principal of Red Bull, agreed with Perez and explained that the issues was related to the car's setup. Although they made some changes to the car before qualifying, Perez misjudged it and did not perform well, starting from the pit lane in the race. Despite his recovery to 5th place, Perez expressed his loss of confidence in the car and difficulty overtaking during the race. Overall, it's difficult to say definitively whether the car was at fault for Perez's struggles in Australia or whether it was a combination of technical issues and driver error. However, it's clear that the Red Bull team is backing Verstappen as their primary driver. Perez will need to take responsibility for his own performance if he hopes to compete with his teammate for a world championship. He believes that the team sabotaged the car to remind him of his place on the team, a speculation that had arisen last season when Perez's performance began to decline after the Monaco Grand Prix. While he is second in the championship, Perez has a 15-point deficit to the leader Max Verstappen and needs to push harder if he wants to challenge for the title. The Mexican driver has expressed that he and Max Verstappen have a high level of respect for each other and the team has a good atmosphere. Perez has also successfully generated revenue through social media, bringing in $33 million for Red Bull in 2022, making him a valuable asset to the team. Furthermore, Yuki Tsunoda may collaborate with Red Bull in the future given his impressive performance in 2023. However, Franz Tost, the team principal of AlphaTauri, has expressed that Tsunoda should continue to drive for his team in 2024 with a potential move to Red Bull in 2025. It's unclear whether Perez will be replaced by 2024, but reports suggest Norris has an equal chance of joining Red Bull as any other driver. The team has not yet announced who will be driving alongside Verstappen in the future. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for even more interesting content. Stay tuned for our next video, and thanks for watching.